Hello everyone, I'm Alan Clark, and this is a review of GTA 5. That was really professional. I'm a big shot now. Big shot, big dick. So, GTA 5 is probably the most anticipated game of all time, and this is a late review because I wanted to kind of get a feel for it. You know, when you first get a game, nothing can be wrong with it because you've invested £40 into it. But I wanted to kind of get a feel. I also wanted to wait for GTA Online to be all good and proper. But if you were kind of thinking, should I get this game? Shouldn't I? I don't know. I need a voice of reason with a kind of sexy, bassy tone to it. Then I'm your man, well, or some other guy. But strap yourselves in. We're going to start things. We're going to kick things off with the story, which is in single player. So the story is. It's fantastic. You follow these three gentlemen. You have Michael, you have Franklin, and you have Trevor. Now you kind of kick things off as Franklin. Franklin is a guy who he aspires to be a big-time gangster, doing bank jobs, doing all the cool stuff, the bitches, and probably the hoes too, with all the money and perhaps some cocaine in there also. Franklin is cool, but I don't know. I didn't really feel Franklin, not just sexually, but in general, I didn't feel Franklin at the start of the game. But then you run into character number 2, Michael. And now this is done in such a I'm not going to give anything away, but it's one of my favourite ways of introducing a new character. I loved it. Both of their worlds collide, and it's fantastic. Now Michael, he's living Franklin's dream. He's except for the bitches. He used to. In fact, sorry, he was retired, and he used to do all of this bank stuff. I'm sure he did some bitches, and there were probably hoes involved also. He killed some people. He did some bank jobs. So this is Michael. He's kind of an old gangster, and this leaves us with the final character, Trevor. He's a psychopath, isn't he? He's a crazy man. He's from the south, and he is nuts. He just blows shit up. He blows probably people up also, and he's a madman. He's probably the strongest character in the game, as he's phenomenally voiced. In fact, the voice work in this game is tremendous. But Trevor really, he shines in this, but he's not the only character that shines. There are so many great characters. Lester is one of my favourite. He's the kind of guy who puts all of these jobs together, and he, again, fantastically voice acted, and I love that character. But yeah, there are kind of maybe a couple of weak characters. Like I didn't really get on with the retarded friend of Trevor's. I thought he was kind of like, well, what? But, you forget about that kind of shit. It's alright. But then kind of as the story goes along, trust me on this, Franklin becomes so much better. As he's starting to take on this lifestyle, he kind of begins to forget about his old life. Lamar is another terrible character, but, never mind. He learned to love and respect him. It's actually a great character. But this all comes together in an amazing way, and there are some great missions, some great storylines. The game itself looks just amazing. I think the only game that I can think that looks better than that is The Last of Us. But that's The Last of Us, isn't it? Great game. I guess we're talking about GTA now, aren't we? So the soundtrack is probably the one thing I would say that I'm not really too keen on. I mean, you got Non-Stop Pop FM, which is great. You got a bit of Steve Winwood in there, and I always love the chat show, well, not chat show, but the chat radio stations. But I kind of feel like maybe it wasn't as good. I like the GTA 4 soundtrack, but I'm not going to knock it down on that because that's kind of personal preference, and that's what I think. But other than that, the gameplay has been refined so much. You can see the history of Rockstar. As you go from GTA 4 to GTA 5, the shooting is so much tighter and better. They've taken the shooting mechanics from both Red Dead Redemption and Max Payne 3 and kind of combined them into one, and it's amazing. It's actually really good. It feels great to shoot a gun, but in GTA 4, I couldn't stand shooting. In fact, here's the thing. Speaking of GTA 4, you can't play GTA 4 anymore because it's so much better. When I look back at GTA, I used to think that was an alright game, except for the shooting I couldn't stand. I used to think it was alright. Every time I look at old stuff about it, because I've been watching old videos about it, it looks just awful, terrible. You can't play GTA, and I've never seen progression like this in a video game. It's stunning. If you play GTA 4 and you think there are a few issues with it, and I can tell you what the issues are that you think right now, because there were some serious issues with that game. I didn't like the story. Then you're gonna love this, because it fixes everything wrong. It's like it takes the great, kind of tones, and they've brought back colours, which seem to be missing from GTA 4. There wasn't any colours in GTA 4. They've brought those back. It's kind of brighter, a bit more like Vice City, and they've brought back some of the cool stuff that you could do in San Andreas. And it's set in San Andreas, which we all know is the best map. We all know that. And it's great. It's taken everything that they've done in the past. It's like a big celebration of Rockstar. They've taken all the cool stuff and they've combined it into one big game. But now we need to talk about the meat of this sandwich. Of this GTA sandwich, which I'm telling you now would taste delicious and take 5 years to make. It's GTA Online, isn't it? Yeah! And the reason that this review is so late, GTA Online. So of course, we all know, especially if you're on Twitter, that GTA Online had a very rocky kind of beginning. It took a while to kind of fix itself, but when it did, I'm telling you now, if you gave up on GTA Online and you traded that game in, you've missed out. It's phenomenal. It's changed the way I look at multiplayer. It's just so well done, because you think something like this wouldn't really work entirely well, but the great thing is you can play it in two ways. Because you get your character, and you make a character, you can kind of customize where it looks and all this. You got all the skills, and you run around and you level up, and you can buy apartments, you can buy cars, you can live the life of this character. And the great thing is, if you've got some friends and you want to party up, you can just mess around, shoot the shit. You can go into some multiplayer lobbies, and you can do missions, you can do races, all that great stuff. And then if you don't, and by the way, that is just so fun. But if you don't, you can just kind of live the life of this guy. You go do jobs, because basically the great thing about it is you take on this life of this person, but whereas other games have made it so, hey, you've got this other life, you go out, you get a job, whatever, but you don't just live this boring ass life of this guy who works at a supermarket packing veg, wondering where it all went wrong. Instead, you live the life of this kind of guy that just goes out, and he shoots people, and he robs banks, and he steals cocaine, and makes Breaking Bad references. This is the guy. It's so much better than just going out and buying some fruit and then going, oh, I've got a coupon, that's great. And so it just comes together so well. And you think, there are certain currencies, you get the GTA money. And by the way, if you can, please avoid the buying GTA money with real money. That's just microtransactions, man. Just stop, please. Anyway. You think that'll be annoying because, if you blow up, you have a primary car and you can buy new cars, which is actually really cool, and I didn't think it would be. And then if it blows up, you pay insurance. But it kind of works. Like, you don't care. It kind of just feels like a fresh new angle. And the money is perfect. It doesn't feel like you don't get enough money for jobs, and it doesn't feel like that apartment costs too much or that car costs too much. It just kind of fits in right, and leveling is good. And so you either have like these party games and you have a lot of fun with it, or you just kind of live this second life where you shoot people in the dick, and that would hurt because a bullet to the dick hurts. It's just super fun, and they're doing the stimulus package soon where you get over 2 chunks, you get $500,000, and you get to stay in that world as well, and you get these extra content, you get extra missions, you get to meet this new character. I think he's Gerald is his name. Everything's controlled through the phone. I think my character's like level 24 or something. You can cruise. Crews are a massive thing. You can make your own crew, and you can put your crew emblem on stuff. And I could get into so much more. Everything. I will say though, now that I've complimented this game and I've been licking its arsehole for far too long, there is a problem with GTA Online, and that's joining things. You go over to a certain area if you want to do a mission or a race or something. You stand in that area, and then you get host or join. Actually, I think it's join or host. And then you click join, and I think 1 in 20 times I actually join a game, and the rest I have to host a game, and then I have to invite people, and people are reluctant to join your game. I don't know what it is. People just don't want to join your game. So a lot of the time I end up doing missions on my own, and I feel like I'm very limited to. I feel like I can't do deathmatch because there's so much effort goes into putting together a deathmatch just for like a 3-minute game, you know, or more like a 5-minute game. And there's a game type which avoid like the plague, please. Last man standing, I think it is, or last team standing. Just don't do it. It takes like 2 minutes to set up the game, and then no, more like 3 minutes, and it lasts like a minute because you get one life, and it just doesn't work in the engine. You know, GTA doesn't really work with the whole. It's like S&D in Call of Duty, and it just doesn't work. But you know, I don't really care about that. You know, I do all of that. It would be nice to just kind of go join a game, and I've got all of these games. You know, I can just join one. But you know, sometimes I just do missions, man. And you know, if I really want to race, I'll hold out. And people, you know, you can vote afterwards, and the countdowns do kind of kill you because they go on for too long. But you know, it's kind of cool because you can meet people, you party up. People have added me because I partied up with them. Also, maybe because I'm part of the IGN crew. But you know, it's okay. I don't mind, and maybe they'll fix it one day. I don't know. But that was it. That's GTA. The game is phenomenal. It's a touchstone or mark or some shit of some games. You know, and even with the problems that I have with it, I honestly don't care. You know, it comes together so perfectly. Buy it, man. If you're 18.